Peter, I think I'll start with you just so that you can introduce yourselves, so.
Good afternoon, Peter Rice, Director of Public Works. It's a pleasure to be with you all.
Great.
Sue Polidora.
Corin Hallowell, Parks and Greenery Foreman, City of Portsmouth.
Peter Spine.
Dee Forte.
Briggs Brady,
Steve Puzzle.
Tara Ricks,
Sauce Brooks.
Jen Merriam.
Great. And welcome South. South Portsmouth crew too. So.
Is there an agenda? Oh, is it?
You should have gotten one in the mail. Sue,
Oh, I usually,
yeah, Stephanie thought that she might be able to be here in person, but she must have gotten held up. But so the agenda, I'll go through it quickly just so you can see. Point of Grace Wall, we're gonna talk about right after we approve the minutes. And then we're gonna talk about the Revolutionary War. Sue's gonna present the names that she has of the Revolutionary War soldiers in North Cemetery. We have a re-revised rack card that Stephanie hopefully will be here to present, the Woodbury plank, and then we're gonna talk about the 250th celebration website that the city of Portsmouth has, so. All right, so second item, we want to approve the May 7th minutes. I don't know if you've gotten a chance to look at them, they were in the packet.
Motion to approve the minutes from the last meeting?
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Great. All right, so item number 3, we want to talk about Point of Grace Wall. So I'll hand it over to you. Peter?
And Corin, pipe in, if I misspeak or anything like that. As you know, we have a situation on a section of the Point of Grace Wall. Well, the entire wall is in not great shape, but a section of it has collapsed and is currently being protected by some Jersey barriers, which are not ideally things that we'd like to leave there in long. Stephanie, you can sit here if you'd like. So some brief images, and I can get rid of this. You know how to hide this, Stephanie? There we go.
Just like that?
Just like that. So you all know what it looks like. What we're proposing to do is replace the wall with a batter type wall. We're anticipating that there's some concrete holding it together, that it's not a dry block wall. But it's intended to be a nice decorative wall with a replacement of the turnstile or reworking of the turnstile and sections. And the area would be from down near Mechanic Street, where the Lava building is right here, wrapping all the way around, and returning back to this location. This section being reworked as well as part of that turnstile. And looking to have pedestrian access, keep a gap here as well, because we know currently people get in that section. So there is a fence along the back side, which we're not really going to talk about today, but Corin is knowledgeable about. But we're aware that fence is in desperate need to be repaired, so we're anticipating doing that. But it doesn't need to be done concurrently with the stone wall. It's a very different type of construction. But we are aware that residents along that section utilize that fence line, and that it appears to be something that is we believe it's ours, and it's something that we need to maintain. So we're proceeding with that belief. If somebody else says no, it's mine, I want to do it, feel free to take on that responsibility. So we had two options. One had less length of wall. The original was that we wouldn't go as far, and included for the balance of it an iron French porcelain for about 140 feet, or I'm sorry, 200.
That's the back.
That's the back section.
So instead of that, we opted for the wood to match what's on the other end. So the new
Right.
quote includes doing the fence along the back that you were just talking about. Instead
Right,
of doing that in aluminum, doing that in wood.
Okay. So we're anticipating the 430 number is the one that is the option that we're pursuing, which is this So B is the one we're focusing on, and we have a possible donor that graciously has stepped up, and so we're looking at a cost apportionment roughly, $200,000 on the city side, which we currently have $155,000 in the Historic Cemeteries Fund, and we have some additional parks and monuments monies available that would cover the balance. So that is the thought, and then the donors indicated that they'd be willing to pick up the balance. So
Would that wipe out any funds that we have left for the
Yes.
remainder of this year?
Yep.
Would.
Well, yes, because we held off till next year to 28 initially. So the CIP had monies identified in 28 for the entire wall. Because the donor is willing to participate, we're able to move forward more quickly. And so the thought is that we'd be moving forward with construction in this time period instead of waiting until 2028 monies are available.
I'm just thinking like cleaning supplies and D2 and stuff like that, so that's,
No,
we
I-
wouldn't do that this year then.
Yeah, I can still get supplies. I have an operating budget. But
Okay.
as far as capital improvement budget,
Oh, capital
we need that out.
Okay, gotcha. Thank you.
And there are some parks and monument monies that are really separate from that were created prior to historic cemetery funds, which, can be justified if there's monuments and things associated with in the cemeteries that need to be protected or cleaned or something, we have, as Karen said, we have operating monies.
Cool, thanks.
There are some additional costs that aren't shown in that, but these are things that are typical for us. There's some flagging detail if we have to have police details to be able to close the road down, repaving sections along the wall, so any pavement, asphalt that gets damaged. Air spading and doing some tree protection, we will do that internally. We have, Corin's crew, the arborist and team are able to do that. There's really very little infrastructure. There is, hardware for hanging access gates and stuff, but that's really part and parcel of the type of work we do, so that's easily absorbed. One thing, there is a project adjacent to this, the Mechanic Street Pumping Station, which is also gonna be coming forward for public discussion at some point in the near future. We anticipate going to council on the 22nd of June to talk about general concepts. But we were planning on putting a sidewalk along the wall side, so the wall will be better protected with a curb and a sidewalk that'll also provide better access across the street there, because it's a little bit of an awkward crossing at that location. So we're hoping to, the wall will probably go before the pumping station project, but it'll be ready to have that sidewalk afterwards. So
Will that be encroaching on the cemetery?
it would not encroach on the cemetery. Yeah, the wall would go back where it is now,
Okay,
and during construction, we'd have an archaeologist. We work closely with the state archaeologists, and, because it's a cemetery, any work 25 feet within the cemetery has to have, DH SHPO's involvement and the historic folks up in Concord, and have an archaeologist available. So,
In the first picture where you showed the, Mechanic Street, the design of it, I think it's the next one. Yep. On Mechanic Street, is that an opening right there? Yes. And that will,
That's for pedestrian access along that spot.
okay.
Yeah, so
Currently it's
if you're
gapped there.
coming off on the other side and you want to do a walk through and get off the road,
Mhm.
you can come in that one corner and go out the other, or vice versa. So you can do it, it creates just a natural entry and exit
Yep.
from either direction, so
Yeah.
people can enjoy the cemetery.
If you can envision a sidewalk along this edge here
Okay,
to this location, instead of the crosswalk going in an angle like that, it would go right here.
That'll be
Okay.
nice.
So, and then this corner is gonna get reworked a little bit as part of the pumping station project. So that's about it. The thought is, with your concurrence as a committee, we would move forward with executing, things and getting ourselves lined up and ready to go.
sounds good. And timeline, rough timeline?
I could envision it starting maybe late summer.
Okay,
It depends on availability of contractors. I mean, it's a little bit of a specialty type of work. You need to make sure you have somebody that's, there are a number of folks that are good stone layers out there, but we wouldn't want to, want to make sure that we have examples of their work, and we can make sure that it's quality work.
It's
Is it
exciting.
a replica of the wall that's already there, or is it a different design? And if
It's
this
gonna
has already
look
been
like-
talked
It's
about,
gonna look more like this
okay, versus what it is now?
versus what it is
There's a
now,
lot of different
The
designs.
current-
which is that.
The current wall's like 4 walls in one.
Yeah.
It's just been built over year after year, just different materials and.
Enlarged.
It's a good way to describe it.
Mm-hmm.
It might have
Yeah.
been brick originally.
Yeah, we're not even
Or
really sure.
probably something
This would
else
be a
before.
So
complete
this will
tear
be an
down
improvement.
and a rebuild, yeah, it'd be like
Yeah.
a finished stone,
We
wall.
believe, yeah, we believe originally there was no wall,
Right,
that it was just grass down to a dirt path.
Yeah.
So,
right,
That looks like it'll look really nice.
yeah.
Yeah.
So that, does that kind of look like the Court Street wall outside the Treadwell house? Does it?
it looks like a, I guess so, I mean,
Yeah,
the,
that style, you know,
Yeah.
it might have a dry laid appearance, but it'll probably be mortared.
and it's
It's a finished-
more of
finished
a
stone.
buttressed wall, so it's got an angle to it on either side, so it's not necessarily vertical sides.
Gotcha, okay. All right, any other questions?
And it's capped.
And it's capped, yeah.
Yeah, that's important.
Yeah.
This is great. It sounds like you're gonna strike while the iron's hot.
Looks beautiful.
It is
Yeah.
beautiful. It's gonna be great.
Yeah.
Is the
So
iron
to speak.
fencing that's there, are we gonna be reusing that for something else in one of the other cemeteries, or is that just getting
So
I would,
taxed?
I would think we'd work with
It'd be
Peter Happy or
reused.
somebody like that to try to
Yeah. I
either
think the
recreate it.
intention is to finish it and and so for example, the turnstile would be restored.
Okay.
Love it. Cool. That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right, any other questions or discussion? Do we have a motion to?
So I just enjoy, there are folks from Fosse that are here, do you wanna give them the opportunity
Sure.
to speak?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, usually we hold public comment, but, we won't hold you guys back, cause we know this is the important item. Does anybody have anything to add?
I'm Kyle LaChance. I'm the new president of Friends of the South End.
Oh, nice.
And I just wanted a clarification. You said the projects are gonna be moving forward, the end of this summer, 2026 or 2027?
2026.
Okay.
That is a tentative schedule. So once we get things nailed down, and we get some firm commitments, we will be able to have a more solid schedule. But, you know, we would hope that would be, I mean, the design is relatively simple, so it should be relatively quick to get that. Some of the permitting aspects of it may be more challenging. It is within a shoreland area, so there are permits that we have to get from the state side of things, and that may take some while, so it may push out the start till later in the fall. And, you know, hopefully that's not the case. But we, you know, once we have those things nailed down, we'll be able to communicate that better.
Is there any opportunity to apply for money from the Conservation License Plate Program?
Sure. At this point, I believe we're in a position that we don't need that additional money. So oftentimes, the effort associated with that is, we have used that in the past. It can be challenging to fulfill the requirements associated with it. And oftentimes, it's easier, if we have the monies, just to get the project done. And then save those for projects that weren't gonna get done, but were, you know, nice to haves, but, you know, weren't gonna get done. This project has to get done, the wall has failed, and, you know, it either gets done this year, next spring if we can't get all the permits and stuff in place, or waits until, if the generous donors, not able to participate, it waits a little while longer until we have capital monies from the city. But either way, the intent is to get this project moving forward as quickly as possible.
Now, would that money be available to do like restoration? Because we have an awful lot of headstones that need to be
Well, that's operating costs, so
with you, it could,
Which
Yes.
money are you talking about, Sue?
well, there's quite a few that needs to be restored right now that they're broken up.
Sure.
And I know you guys are tied up doing a whole bunch of stuff all over town, but if there is any monies available, maybe we can hire someone to come and do it as well.
So that would be a great thing for Moose Plant Grape perhaps, or L-chip funds. At this point, you know, they're two separate projects. You guys do get monies appropriated every year through the capital improvements plan. So those monies are intended for that type of restoration work. So where we're not, it doesn't look like we're gonna use the monies that are identified for next year, FY '28. Those monies could get repurposed for that type of stuff. So
Excellent. Excellent. Anybody else?
Yes.
We're excited. Yeah. I'm very excited also. All right, do we have a motion to accept the proposal and let the city go forward with this project?
Is that the motion that you made?
No, I'll make it. You can't make it, can you?
What's that?
Did you make it, or do I have to make it?
I'm asking somebody to
Oh.
make it. Yeah.
I make a motion that we accept the proposal for the wall on Point of Grave Cemetery
As presented?
as presented today.
Thank you, all in favor? So, excellent,
all right, thank you all very much.
very
Yep,
excited.
good job.
Thank you, Peter.
Thank you.
All right.
Let's turn at the wall anyway.
So our next item is, Sue has a list of the Revolutionary War soldiers that are laid to rest in the War
Yeah, and
Cemetery.
I didn't bring the list. It is electronic,
Okay.
and I think it was sent as part of the package.
Yeah, I can call up the list we included in the package.
Okay. Get the list that I sent you, the one that.
I'm not sure I have the second list, but let me
Yeah,
see.
you can always cross out the name that was there in error.
Thanks.
Because it was sent electronic, so I pretty much cross-referenced just about every document that I could find against the list of those that are in the North Cemetery. And I found 40. This is used in the category that the Sons of the American Revolution assigned to those that fought in the conflict, that were part of it. They also have another category, it's called Patriot Service. Those are the people that didn't go to battle, however, they were left behind working, supplying, people that were in the revolution, just being part of it, but they were either too old to be part of it or couldn't do it for whatever reason. That category, Patriot Service, if I open up that category and include that on the list, I would easily get double the list I have. It's pretty broad. So,
So is that included in the 40?
no.
No.
No, I will double that number.
Wow.
Because then you will be adding, like Benjamin Thompson. You're gonna add that he was a colonel. He was here, he was a judge, he was doing all of these things to support the cause, but he wasn't actually fighting. Then you would have Jacob Chief. He was bringing in supplies and using he has a vast network of ships and warehouses and then all his family that did, it will open up a whole different category. And a lot of people would be added to it. So I only added the ones that I knew had direct, were part of the conflict directly. So I think the list you're gonna be putting it on the website, but also I wanted to ask, anything that you would like to do with that list for the 250th?
Right. Yep. That's,
Right now, 90% of all of the names, I discovered that they were there because of the lists of it. I need to physically locate them. And the only ones that I really know where they're at the ones that participated in the raid of Fort William and Mary, Fort Constitution. Those have been identified, we have put markers on it. And I could write a letter or some sort of article in the paper identifying those locations so people will go and maybe take a look. And for that, I came up with a little marker to aid the process, because right now it's very difficult to find anything in there unless you know where they're all,
Where they're located. And also, Michael couldn't make it tonight, but he left copies of his records for the other cemeteries in town. Proprietors, Harmony Grove, Cotton, there's one. There's a couple private grounds that we won't be able to get to, but all in all, there's 30 that are on the that's right. Proprietors really isn't public, the public cemetery, but Michael can give us permission to get on there. But
So what I
anyway,
did is, these are different kinds of ribbons. I just put them in the stake, staple them to a wooden stake and put it by, actually I put this next to Captain Salter's grave. Both of them, I wanted to see which one weathered the best, and they both did okay. This one is a little understated.
I think that one looks much nicer.
This one?
Yeah.
And this one is a little, I just bought some that are only like 2.5 inches. So I can use that as well. I mean, we're only making 6 of them.
yeah, I agree, the one in your
It's
right
simple,
hand is
looks-
cellular.
Yeah.
Yeah, I already have this one. It's fairly inexpensive. I pay like $9
Yeah.
for 10 yards. So if you give me permission, I can put some of these in those graves so people can go and say, oh, there's a marker over there. And go.
Is that okay with,
The committee is okay with it. I don't have a problem with that. Yeah, you're gonna put it out for summer?
And it'd be right attached to the headstone, so it's easier
Close.
to maintain and stuff.
Close enough so it won't interfere with mowing and.
Make a few extras, cause they'll probably,
Those look chipped.
the weed whackers might, but I don't have a problem with it. I think it's fine as long as the committee approves.
Now,
Especially where we're commemorating an anniversary and.
Yeah,
does
I would agree.
DPW have
This
this?
is a little, I like this one.
I like that one too.
It looks more in keeping
It's
with
more
it
classic.
being in an older
Classic.
cemetery.
It's in the period.
Yeah, it's,
it looks 250 years old.
Yeah,
So,
it's like an old flag.
yeah.
DPW have any more of these?
I don't have any stakes like that. Where did you find that? Like Home
Lowe's.
Depot, Lowe's? We could I can get you some. We can talk about it.
All right,
Yeah, just give me a call.
I get a discount there too.
That's great, so
Yeah,
Perfect.
veterans
We'll
discount.
meet over there.
Maybe you should give her a
Bring a
call.
Lowe's card. Let's go shopping, Sue.
So would you have, enough, let's see, so we got 4, 6, we have to get Episcopal, that's St. John's, we'd have to get permission to go up there, but 7, like 8 more, at least 8 more, maybe 12 more.
Yeah, I'll make some extras and I'll try to
Yeah.
see if the guys can just pull them out while they weed whack and then put them back.
Okay.
It just will happen. People will take them. They'll get broken.
Well, that's why I came up with
Fuel will end
this
up in the mill pond.
simple, inexpensive idea,
Yeah.
is because if you make them out of metal, people will take it to sell the metal.
Oh, God.
If you make it out of plastic, they would not last very long. People will take it just because they can. So
I think
stick
most
with a
people are
little
very
ribbon,
respectful of stuff like that, but we're gonna lose a few, that's all.
and they're easy to replace, probably under $5.
And, could we put something like at the front of the cemetery that
Yes, you gotta identify it someplace.
that says why these markers are there? Trying to think.
Could probably
Some
do like
kind
a
of sign
temporary
with-
sign.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the signs, we do the blue markers that we're talking about for, the South Street area cemeteries, are more of a production than you're looking for, but we have been adapting that idea for some artwork signs around the city. And so a variation on that, we know that material lasts, cause
Well,
we
Stephanie,
need
I think
something that's gonna be there.
this is
through
temporary.
Labor
This is
Day.
just for the summer.
We could have like Jeff make something.
True.
So maybe,
Yeah, I could talk to Jeff, cause
Yeah.
Jeff is our
Laminate it or
sign.
something,
Yeah.
right?
well, they could put it on metal and he could do like a print. Like if Stephanie came up with like, hey, whatever it is, like, hey, when you enter the cemetery, these are marking Revolutionary War soldiers. We could try to do that in-house.
Yeah.
And just put them out
Yeah,
from like
good.
now until
Thanks for
September,
reminding me.
October.
Yeah,
Because
even if
Jeff
it's one of the
can-
tents or.
Print on aluminum, on
Yeah.
anything that will hold up long enough to serve our purpose and look
Excellent.
appropriate.
Professional.
So,
Yeah, it'll look nice. I mean, he made the ones that we have now anyway that can sort of lay out the rules, like please clean up after your dog.
Right, oh,
So
nice.
He could make something,
Oh, that's,
we could even use that same like color scheme if we wanted to, something like that.
that's perfect.
And if the committee would like to have, set up a date, that we can do like a tour of the North Cemetery, I can do that. I have one coming up. This month, so if you would like to dedicate a day just to have people walk through and I'll be there.
And could I come on that tour and, you know, so then we'd have more than one person that would be able to do it and anybody else that would.
This is a friend of mine that is organizing a tour for her friends.
Oh, okay.
So it's like a private thing, go into the Moffat Lat House afterwards and have lunch in the garden. Yeah.
Because it would be nice if we could offer a tour, like every Saturday in July or something, you know?
I'm willing, weather permitting.
Okay, well, we got a little work to do before we do that, but, okay, and all of this is, like, we want to be able to publish kind of a walking tour. It's Tara's idea, I think, so, I don't know, Stephanie, if we can get this online to, you know, for people to be able to
so
reference.
this is the list that was in the packet. I
Okay.
don't have the updated one available to show you, but I do have it. So the question that I need your direction on is, do you want, the simplest thing that I could do almost instantaneously is post the PDF so that you can click on the link to see the list. Where you wanna go from there is we could create, I suggest that we create a page within the Historic Cemeteries arena of Revolutionary War soldiers or connections, and start with Sue's, but a walking tour of some kind. We talked at the last meeting about trying to get GPS locators for the grave sites. It sounds like you still have some to identify. I could talk to Jamie McCarty about putting that in a functional format so that it would essentially become a Google map, and Google map can come down to this keyboard, so we could theoretically do it that way. But I need to talk to Jamie about what he'd suggest. Is that what the committee would like to do?
I would love that. I
Me
think
too.
That's a good idea. And, yeah, I don't know if we could put, well, Jamie would know how to present that. Because we'd want it, the website,
So when you're looking at the website with your phone, which
Right.
is how the tour would work, you're coming down to a resolution that is literally between me and Sue. So that it will tell you, and it will tell you where you need to start looking. And then when you have the markers, then you'll see them. And that will, having the markers is a great connector.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent.
The highlighted names are those that participated in the fort, in the raid on the fort.
Okay, yeah.
And I added one that shouldn't be there, Nathaniel Folsom. Just because the original Nathaniel Folsom was the one that was at the fort, but in the North Cemetery, we have another Nathaniel Folsom, and then we have his son, Nathaniel Folsom. So I needed to zero in on the dates. He's buried in Exeter.
Okay. And I think what would be great if we could add to this is like a short bio, you know, like what that person was, a lawyer, doctor, a merchant, or,
At the very bottom of this list, there's some historical notes.
okay.
Yeah.
So that kind
So something like, and not even that big for everybody, but,
Like a sentence.
but, you know, a couple.
Yeah, these are not all of the people in the fort. These are just biographical notes that I have about some of the other people that are buried there. I
Right.
just included whatever information I had.
Good. So, yeah, Sue, you don't have to do this alone either, so just let me know when you're down there, we'll let everybody know and
Work
people
party.
wanna.
All I have to do are 6. I know where they're at, so it's like
Okay.
easy to find. I just need a hammer to be able to.
I can bring a hammer.
I have one too. I'll bring
Steve
that.
has a bunch of hammers.
Yes, Steve's
Yes,
the
he
hammer
does.
good.
Any color you want, match your outfit.
I like it. It's good. So do we have to vote on any of this, or,
so you're not spending any money, right?
so, yeah,
I mean, on stakes, technically. Make a motion, you have to make a
approve
motion
to
to.
put the stakes in too, we have to
Yeah,
approve
maybe,
that.
maybe you should.
Well, to your question, that's really valid, because you worried if you had the authority, well, this committee has that authority, right?
Yeah, I think for
Working
things
with
like
you.
that, you know, that's not a problem. I think
Yeah.
you do have that.
yeah, I'm not
Say,
worried
yeah, we're gonna put these out for this particular event and
Temporarily.
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 can have
I think that's the key.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
borrowing.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
okay. So I think we're good.
Now, are you guys,
Hold on.
for sure you like the other one? Because I just got these from Amazon, all right? And I also have bought this. I wanted to see which one would look best.
Yeah,
The older looking one looks nice, those ones just look plasticky and cheap, to be a little blunt about it.
Well, I will defer to whatever the committee wants.
okay.
Well, 4th of July's coming up, you can decorate.
I know.
Amazon usually
Find a use
takes
for it.
just about anything back, so.
Yeah.
All right. Next item is our re-revised wrap card. Thank you, Stephanie.
Thank you, Tara.
I think it looks great. It does look great. I still think we need a comma after Portsmouth there, right? Portsmouth.
Should you
Hampshire.
desire? It's stylistic, so if you all would like a comma, that's easy to add. But just as an introduction, as my bailiwick, the comment about the existing rack cards that we'll use up, now that we have a new supply, did, when I thought about it, look as if the rack card was all about North Cemetery, because that was the blue marker. Well, the blue marker is kind of iconic for
It is.
anybody who's looking for historical information in the city. And Tara had the great idea of, so make that the top, which is what I did using the font that we use on the historical markers. And then also the cameos, which aren't as well, you won't be surprised that they aren't very easy to find. Although we do have etchings of Whipple and Langdon, and Tobias Lear. The one thing that I was struggling with, which didn't make it into this draft, is that it would be helpful to identify who these people are. So that's a further refinement that I need to do. I'm not sure yet whether they all go in a little guide legend at the bottom, or if I put it make more sense to put the names with the people. There obviously isn't room to really say who they are other than a name, but we could put that information with a key on the website and give people more reason to click into more information and find out who these people are.
I wonder if you couldn't wrap it, you know, like clip art style wraps around the image, like the bottom or the
Yeah,
top,
that's
if you wanted to put it next to them.
that was kind of what I was like, on currency, that's why they do it there, I think, I was just looking at that. Anyway, so yeah, so, so this,
Yeah, the canvas looks so good.
That's great.
You
Thank
guys.
takes a village, it takes all of you.
Everything takes a village.
So I will make that further addition if there's anything else that you think we need to improve, edit, whatever. I think the map is a little more legible.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, yeah, you can see
I
it from
think
here.
all of the text on there is,
So easy to read.
it's organized in a way that makes it very easy
Yeah.
to pick up something as you're looking at it.
That's great.
Looks good.
Well, you will get to see it again before we send it to the printers.
Thank you for all your work on that. It's really awesome.
So thank all of you.
All right, our next item is the Woodbury plaque. And I think this will be the last time no, probably won't be the last time we talk about it. Because we
Shout
do
out
want to
to
have a celebration, but.
Jeff Boucher at DPW, our sign guru, he got that out and he ended up capping studs on the back of it so that you don't see any fasteners. And then he anchored it into the brick and epoxied it. So it's just like sitting and floating on the brick. I think it came out great.
That's awesome.
It's curing right now. He said 24 hours. He put it up this morning. So we go by it sometime tomorrow. There's a stick that's kind of holding pressure up against it. So he'll remove that and I think we're good to go.
Yeah,
Awesome.
I saw
Came out really well.
Great. That's awesome.
Is there a proposed time for
Still
a
no.
ceremony from, it's DAR, right?
No, they're thinking about what they want to do. So they'll come up with some dates, but we wanted to get the plaque there first. And I'll send them a picture. I took a picture today too, but I'll
With the stick on.
give it
yeah.
a stick on.
Yeah.
I'll send a picture once the stick is off and then ask them, to really start thinking seriously about what date they'd want for a ceremony, because it's gonna be a busy summer. So, all right, the next item is the 250th celebration, and so the city of Portsmouth has a website now that has, so,
A long page.
Who's heading that up, the 250th?
There is no city organization. Every Strawberry Bank and the Historical Society are partnering on Revolutionary Portsmouth. The Sons of the American Revolution and the Daughters are doing some various things like the Lafayette Archer. Moffett Lad is doing a program about the chestnut tree next Saturday.
oh, cool.
Which sounds fascinating.
That is fascinating.
It's also Market Square Day, I think.
Good timing,
Good
they'll
day.
get lots of
Yeah.
attendance. And then Strawberry Bank, the Historical Society and the Association of Historical Societies of New Hampshire are doing a Flag Day ceremony on Sunday that includes a viewing of a specific selection from Ken Burns' American Revolution. So the idea, the page that links right from the homepage of the city website, is to keep adding to that, and I've been adding photographs of events as they happen, like the Lafayette. I keep looking at Sue because she was a speaker at that and very involved.
I just said the Pledge of Allegiance.
It went well. So as people have things they'd like us to add, we have sent in the newsletter, send an email to hotline@portsmouthnh.gov, which I monitor. But we're not trying to create a new calendar. Things that are significant
Totally, yeah.
events that we can call some more attention to, which reminds me, I'm sure there'll be a reading of the Declaration on the 4th, and I need to add that in Market Square. Sue, do you know?
I don't, I usually organize that, but this year, I figured there was something else going on.
Yeah.
I would like to organize something on the 18th, because that's when the Declaration was read in
Here.
Portsmouth. But I'm not sure what they're doing in Exeter. Exeter have that independence.
There is the 11th,
The 11th?
Independence Festival, yeah.
So we have an opportunity to be able to do something
Yeah.
on the 18th. It happens to be a Saturday.
Very cool. Is there anything planned right now for that day?
Sounds not, and I don't remember anything in particular from this list, but, what the page about the 250th has are links to all the people who are collecting a calendar of events. The state has a commission, they have a website, New Hampshire Tourism has a 250th website. This is the third one that I'm not remembering what it is, maybe the chamber list, yeah. So we're trying to keep the calendar links to the people who are actually normally collecting calendar events. Because if you create your own calendar, then you have to market the calendar, and nobody knows where it is. So you go with the ones that are created. So that's what's happening. But I will be happy to check if there's anything else on the 18th.
I would think maybe the Athenaeum would wanna do something in Market Square.
I think they're having a speaker series, but I'm not sure there's anything on that particular day.
Is there a Summer in the Streets concert on the 18th?
July?
Yeah, there's one on the 4th, Seacoast Wind Ensemble's performing that day.
And I think they have all the Saturdays, but
Oh, that's what I'm asking, I don't know, is it
Yeah.
every
Yeah,
Saturday?
they close
it's
Pleasant Street?
Saturdays. So yeah, there probably is, because it's July. Let me see if it's in the calendar.
That would be great if somebody could read the Declaration just before that. It's gonna be set up.
I don't know, it's not in my calendar, but that doesn't mean,
There isn't one.
there should be in July, yeah. It's
Well,
every Saturday in
4th
July.
for
isn't
sure.
it?
I just checked the Seacoast Wind Ensemble because my friends are into that, so.
The head of the paper, I can't, the whole page,
The,
everything that happens this summer.
Summer in the Streets.
Yeah, like everything, at the streets and everything.
All right. So that's all our agenda items. Any other business? Anybody want to?
Yeah, I'd like to do a shout out to Liberty Mutual.
Oh, okay.
Those guys were great.
Yeah, they really are.
You know, we cleaned North Cemetery, and I said that far back corner has been neglected, and they all bolted for it.
And it was monsooning.
Why brought me new clothes? My feet were soaked, my pants were soaked, and it was just like, and I was like, "Go guys, go, go! We've been here long enough." And they kept working, and it was just,
That's awesome.
it was a joy to work with those guys. So
They really are good.
I would love it if we had something as a token of thanks to give these people that volunteer the time in the cemeteries.
I know.
I don't know whether it's a mug, T-shirt, or something.
I'll propose this if you
sorry,
can put the expenditure for some button supplies, I have a button maker, we can all sit here and bump some buttons, cemetery committee buttons, different cameos like those.
I think that's a good idea anyways, right, just to have for people?
Buttons
Put
with
it in your
cameos.
Put it on there. I think it'd be pretty cool, cemetery committee buttons.
But yeah, it would be.
So I have the
So-
machine and everything, we just have to order like the Mylar and the backings.
I'll send an email to Paula, who's my contact at Liberty for this, and see if she has any ideas. I mean, they get t-shirts, Liberty gives them t-shirts for the
Yeah,
day.
but I mean, just something,
Just
if
a
we can
month
get
from us,
more
you
people to
mean.
come,
Yeah.
and it's more marketing purposes for us, you know,
So too.
Portsmouth Historic
Yeah.
Cemetery volunteer or something to say, you know, whether we're cleaning them, whether we're resetting them,
Yeah.
whatever, just cleaning them up.
They worked
It
hard.
wasn't so expensive, I'd say water bottles, because everybody walks around with a water bottle.
Yeah.
Water moccasins?
Water bottle.
Oh, water moccasins.
No, nobody wants one of those.
I'm happy to
Just
get
send an
plain ones
email
and
to
put a sticker on it.
Yeah.
and see if they have any ideas.
Yeah, good.
They're great, they're right around the corner.
Stickers on a water bottle.
Thank you.
Fun thing about the buttons is that it's not obvious and it's like a secret society.
Yeah.
So people say, what is that? Where'd you get that? And it gives you the opportunity to tell
You can
people,
do
and
a
they're
lot with them,
inexpensive.
You know,
Or stickers.
print whatever you want.
Everybody loves a sticker and water bottles. Stick the sticker on the water bottle.
Here's
Like that one.
Case in point.
Yeah.
You can put in there, I preserve history.
Anything like that would
Yeah.
be.
I do think that's, yeah. So I'll email them happy to and see if they have any ideas.
That'd be awesome.
Just, I looked, yes, Summer in the Streets, July 18th, 2026.
What time? Day?
Four?
8?
For
Yeah, we can do this.
I think usually they'll play,
No
5:30 to
sets?
8:30, yeah, and they close the streets before tonight, but the performances are 5:30.
So we can do. I usually do the reading at noon. So we do it at noon from, only lasts like 35, 40 minutes. That's it. The
Does it
kids,
make sense to do it when people are gathering for the concerts at 4:30,
yeah, just before.
and when it's not as hot?
Because it's gonna be set up then. It won't be set up at noon, you know.
No, I think they start closing down at, yeah, it's 4. Start
Yeah.
putting the barricades up.
I, it's just concerned about parking, although I can.
In Portsmouth.
Especially during a big
That's why I have a scooter.
celebration like
Everybody's
this.
first thing.
Scooter
All right.
is own equalizer.
Something like this.
My term expired,
Mine did too.
so I don't know if I'm
Somebody's gonna
allowed
give
to
me one.
vote on things if my term is expired. And how,
I
Let me
think
talk to-
last time that happened to me, they just kinda said it's fine until the paperwork goes through, cause it took them, I don't know, 6 months to
Okay.
give you a real answer.
Mine has also, mine expired in May. I must have just finished out
Why'd
someone
they give you only a
else's.
year?
I wasn't even a year, I was like 3 months.
Yeah.
I won't take it personal.
probation period.
I'll ask Suzanne, 'cause she's been working with it.
Didn't some of you fill out paperwork at the last meeting?
Yes, we
You have
did.
to renew
Yeah,
it.
Michael and Sue.
Yeah.
So you should be having to
So-
read.
I
I think you have to take kind of an oath or something, or sign something, I don't know.
You have to do both.
Yeah, cemetery committee oath.
I'll wear my button.
I have one
Wait,
more
do-
item before we adjourn. I'm just gonna request, see if the city can buy one of the flags that says 250 on it to fly at Whipple's.
Oh,
The location,
like on that.
At North Cemetery, on that flagpole?
like that.
Is that
That's a
official?
smaller flag, so you're talking about North Cemetery on that flagpole?
Yeah,
Peter,
Can you send me a link where
did
they
you
get
talk
ordered?
to your brother about?
Cause I'd have to
markers and stuff?
fly,
He
it's a
hasn't,
3x5,
I
they make them that
did, but
small.
I didn't get the information yet.
Okay.
that's the guy that we
Didn't
usually
bring it up
get
to
that.
about Linwood.
Oh, is that high flying flag?
Yeah,
I know, but that looks like a bigger flag and that's a small pole. So if you talk to them and they can get a 3x5, tell them to email me, cause they have all my, they know.
There are a couple of, I see it
Is that
in
too big?
Facebook, that's
No,
erossflag.com.
So that's a, that's a high flying flag?
yeah. Yeah, the one by Route 33.
All right,
I have one last question, sorry. Craig Welch emailed Portsmouth Cemetery Committee about a pre-construction meeting. Did anybody go to that, or does anybody have more information about it?
I went to it, and it was really good. So Craig is Portsmouth Housing Authority, and he had somebody in from independent architectural consultants, who kind of was giving everybody instructions, you know, to the landscapers, to the builders, to the thing of what they have to be careful of when you are doing work around a cemetery. And they have actually found graves that are outside the stone wall. I don't know if anybody's been down there before, but it's the Langdon family farm, which is actually, it's on the Lafayette side of urban forest, the urban forest. So it's actually a little parcel of land that was part of the Langdon Elwyn farm way back when.
So is this across the street from like the Archie Blows?
Pretty
Yeah.
much. McDonald's.
Yeah,
The
McDonald's.
church, and it's in the back there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
Oh,
it's
okay.
behind that,
Little
okay.
Blessings.
Little
Yeah.
Blessings, yeah.
Yeah, Elwyn, I learned, and this is that he is actually a descendant of the Langdons. Did you know?
Grandson, yeah.
You probably knew that. So anyway, and they gave that parcel of land to build the church way back. I guess a couple times. I think it burnt down once too. So anyway, it's on that parcel of land, and they have found graves outside of the stone wall.
Oh, yeah, I
So-
know that is.
What's that?
You know what I'm talking about. I used to walk the dog there a lot.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
a pathway.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
my kids went to Little Blessings too,
Yeah.
but my sister lived in Owen Park on Taft. I used to walk their dog
Wow.
out in the urban forest quite a bit.
Yeah.
I do remember
Did you get to the?
There is some.
Could you get to the
crazy-
church from there?
Yeah, there's a path.
From like Elwyn? I don't know.
Yeah, the homeless, you said.
But anyway, so since they found graves outside of the stone wall, they are increasing the radius to 50 feet, so that they can't do any work 50 feet from the stone wall. And,
Or 50 feet from the furthest grave, right?
right, exactly,
Yeah.
yeah, that's what
That
it
they
is.
know about.
That they know. And, but, so they had lines down, and the corner of one of the buildings is right at that line, which kind of makes me nervous, but they are supposed to call independent agent consultants anytime they get close to that area, and they will come on site and kind of supervise, which is good. I think the unsettling part to me when I left was that there's believed to be a second burial site somewhere on that parcel of land, and I was really concerned about it until I looked into it further. I think they're saying that there's another burial site somewhere in the urban forest area. Do you know what I mean? So,
UNH do the penetrating radar.
yeah. They did do penetrating radar, which is why they found the other, the 14 graves outside of the cemetery. But yeah, they're kicking off this week, I think. I think they had their.
Seriously. I found the attachment that PHA sent around before that meeting really interesting. It's the Division of Historical Resources examination of whether the church is historically significant architecturally. The African burying ground from the family farm is what's historically significant. I
Right.
wasn't clear, and I don't know because I couldn't go to that meeting. Did you get a sense whether they were going to apply to the state or nationally for a historic landmark, historic resource designation? Because the format of that report was, well, it qualifies under this criterion and this, which seemed like somebody was doing something. But that
Yeah,
report is a couple years old.
I'm not sure. There is a marker for the Black History Trail of New Hampshire. There is a marker there for that, but.
I recall that was not discussed Monday's meeting.
Okay.
So if anybody's interested, you can go on, I think, the city YouTube channel and watch the meeting, because there was a discussion about this. And just for the record, they've changed the name of that committee to the African Burying Ground Preservation Committee.
Okay.
So it's no longer the African Burial Ground Committee. So,
Preservation.
yeah, but if you go on the city website, you can find them this past Monday, June 1st, and there was a pretty decent discussion
It was a
about all of what happened
Yeah.
during that.
Yeah, Jennifer, from the city was there and she gave a great
Yeah.
readout. She was very concise. It's really good. So yeah, you could watch that on YouTube.
The Landon family grave is right in the, as you go into the forestry center. It's right in there in the back of the main pathway. But it's all gated. It has iron gates all over the place. And I believe that the Elwin Landon that donated that land is buried there.
Oh, wow. So maybe that's what they're talking about, but I don't know.
His
But
family, it has the Landon's father, mother, some brothers, so.
Supposedly, even when they're not near the area where the Langdon Cemetery is, they're gonna have a supervisor that is on the ground when the equipment is being used to dig. So and that person will watch out for any kind of glinting, anything that doesn't look like it shouldn't be in the dirt. So, so anyway, that was a lot. Sorry about that. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
So
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.